What's up, guys? I'm going to be sharing with you 7 crops that I'm going to be trying to focus on and being intentional about this next growing season, and maybe you might want to too. And the first crop that I'm going to mention is sweet potatoes. This sweet potatoes, yams, I'm using it interchangeably. I actually just dug this one up. I've planted sweet potatoes in this particular soil for the last 2 years. And I actually didn't plant this last year. It's been overgrowing and keep coming back. So it's come back earlier in the season. Last year, I decided to only plant orange sweet potatoes. I forgot Covington, I think it's the name. But I also harvested so many of these purple potatoes. I planted these purple potatoes in here. It was 2 different varieties. One was a Japanese purple yam, and then one was an organic purple sweet potato. And all of those I got the first year from my local earth fair and then sprouted them, and I did a video on that. This past year, I only planted Covington potato, which was an orange sweet potato, but I have planted it here. And like I said, if you don't get like every last root up or every last, like there's like these roots hanging in here, I've been having sweet potatoes come back year after year in this particular bed and another bed that I planted sweet potatoes. The reason why I want to plant sweet potatoes and focus on sweet potatoes is they store really, really long. So they last inside my house for a long time. They're good at bulking stuff up. They're a potato, they're a starch, they're healthy for you. I personally really like the taste of sweet potatoes, and I've come to find that my kids will eat them in certain ways that I cook them. Like when I make this sweet potato hash with sausage in the morning, they'll eat that. But if I just want them to eat just like, roasted or boiled sweet potato, which I really like as a sweet potato, mashed potatoes, they like sweet potato french fries. And so there are ways that they eat sweet potatoes. It just takes a little bit more effort. The second crop that I'm going to be focusing on, and I've actually already started here in my hoop house as an experiment, are potatoes. I love planting potatoes. I love digging them. All of these potatoes that I have here in this basket are potatoes that I grew. I started the first year that I was here. I did get seed potatoes, but then I also just bought regular organic potatoes from the store, and I've been planting them. And so all of these potatoes that I've harvested are from my garden. They have been sprouting because I, just had them out in the light, and some of them are really bad. Let me show you an example of one where they sprouted so much, and I didn't want them to die. So what I did, and I wanted to save them for seed potato, and last year, I know that they'll still grow fine, because last year when I planted out my fall garden or my spring garden, potatoes was one of the first things that I planted out into the garden, and I used potatoes that looked all shrivelly like these, and they grew just fine out in the garden. And then I harvested those, and then some of them I saved, and I was even able to get a second crop, so 2 crops in the spring and the summer garden. Now these I've harvested, and I've been saving them as my seed potatoes, but some of them were just so bad that I decided to plant them in this garden bed in the hoop house, because last year, even though it got down to 17 degrees in here, or 17 degrees outside for a couple days, it never froze in here. So I decided to experiment and plant potatoes in this bed, since nothing was planted in that bed. And so far they've been doing fine. It's only gotten down to about 30 degrees, so not enough to necessarily freeze in here. I have peppers growing in here, and they haven't frozen. And so now that I know that bed hasn't frozen, there is a side of the bed this bed right here that I don't remember what I planted here, but it's not growing, and I still have these potatoes, and I don't think that they're going to make it for another 2 months. And so I am going to go ahead and plant some more potatoes in this bed. Besides potatoes always growing well for me, they are a high calorie crop, and my family loves to eat mashed potatoes when we have them fresh. That's probably the main way that we use potatoes, is making mashed potatoes. We love pot roast, and so when I have fresh potatoes, we love having mashed potatoes at least once a week until we get tired of it. And they store well. I always have plant potatoes in the springtime, and then I usually have been having more potatoes as seed potatoes going forward in the next year. And so yes, 2 reasons why I want to plant more potatoes than I have been, is because they store well, we love to eat them, and just expanding my potato harvest going forward. The next crop that I'm really going to be trying to focus on and grow is carrots. This is a bed that I've already have carrot seeds growing, and they've already begun to sprout up. But I have 3 of these beds that I've planted. These are 2 by 8 Forever Garden beds. I am affiliate with me, and so if you use my link in the description box, you get a discount, and so do I. But I'm using them to grow carrots. I have 3 of them, 2 by 8 beds, and I'm trying to grow carrots 2 ways. I'm trying to grow fall, winter to early spring carrots, and then I want to also try and grow carrots in the early spring and see which one does better. For the past 2 years that I've lived here, I have not grown great carrots, but previously in my old garden, I used to grow great carrots all the time, and my kids really like them. It's a vegetable that we eat, that we buy from the grocery store, like baby carrots and stuff like that. My kids really just like to eat them raw, and I really hope to grow great carrots in this garden because they store really well. Again, I'm trying to grow crops this year that can store really well inside my refrigerator without going bad. And I've seen other people just like put them in trash bags and like tape them up, put them inside the refrigerator, and they last all season. You can can them, although my kids don't really like cooked carrots, and so what I really want is like fresh eating carrots. So that's the 3rd crop that I'm going to be really trying on perfecting and growing this garden season. Right along with carrots, the 4th thing that I'm going to be trying to grow more of is winter squash. I have last year grew a couple butternut squashes that I did store, and they're still good. I still have some inside of my house. But I want to grow so much more winter squash that I do like butternut squash soup. You can use butternut squash as like a pumpkin substitute, just anything like that. My kids actually will eat butternut squash soup as well. It tastes really good. My kids won't eat like pumpkin pie, but I realized that they'll love pumpkin muffins, and so I could use it in making muffins, could use it to make soup, just use it in a variety of ways. So I want to really focus on growing things that I know is going to last a long time inside my house, that my kids really enjoy eating, and that just stores well. One of the things that I want to perfect is growing food for long-term storage, and so that is why winter squash is making my list. The 5th thing that I'm going to be focusing on and paying a lot of attention to are my peppers. I last year decided to plant mostly all of my sweet peppers inside of my hoop house, and that was not a good idea because when I went on my missionary trip, I shared about this, my family got sick. I was gone for more than 8 days. It was over 100 degrees, basically cooked everything inside my hoop house, and so majority of my sweet peppers all toasted. They didn't get watered, they died in there, and that was over, I think, 70 something plants of peppers. So this year I'm trying again. I'm going to grow lots of peppers. I never knew peppers could be so hard to grow. In my previous garden, I used to have pepper galore, so much peppers growing out of my ears, just like peppers everywhere, here pepper, there pepper, everywhere pepper. And the past 2 seasons that I've been here, I have not had great peppers. The first year I had a way better harvest of peppers than I did this past summer, but still not as plentiful as I did in my previous garden. So obviously peppers aren't like a high calorie food. They're not even going to last long inside storage without you having to do something to them, like manipulation, like cutting, freezing, freeze drying, dehydration, something like that. But my kids love them, and if you try and grow or buy organic peppers from the store, they're like $3 for one organic pepper, where my kids love to eat them fresh. And peppers are on the Dirty Dozen. If you're not familiar with that, it is the 12 most highly sprayed crops in America, and sweet peppers are usually always on there every year, but now even hot peppers are on there, which is insane because you can buy a $3 pepper plant, $4 pepper plant, and at least get one pepper on that pepper plant. Of course, it's going to take a while to grow and stuff like that, and you would hope for more than one, but it's ridiculous how much organic peppers are when they do not take, in my opinion, not a lot of pest pressure have come to my peppers in the past. And so I really don't, it's mind-boggling when I go to the store and see why peppers are so dang on expensive for one pepper. Even a green pepper, they're like, you pay for the organic title and you don't even know if it's actually organic or what did they do to it. Where in my garden I can control it. I can make, pepper powder. I can freeze them. I can let my kids eat them as much as they want raw. And so peppers are definitely making my list, even though they aren't like a high calorie food. The sixth and seventh thing that I am personally going to be focusing on are onions and cucumbers. For the past 2 seasons that I've grown here, had great success with onions and cucumbers, but I want to continue that I have great success with them. Onions, one, because I can chop them, I can freeze them, I can make onion powder by freeze drying them, dehydrate them. They just I love to add them. They bring in so much flavor into food, and they store well in the freezer. And they're pretty easy to grow, and so far for me, I haven't had any problems growing onions. I am growing onions from onion starts from Dixondale Farm. The past 2 years I have tried to grow onions from seeds. I actually have some onion seeds sprouting right now, but they haven't gotten as big, and so I haven't found the right time to germinate onion seeds and get them in the ground. But my onion seeds my onion starts from Dixondale Farm are coming in January. The first year that I planted them, I think I planted them in December. That was the first bed. The first video I made, I planted 540 onions in that bed, and they did great. The second year, half of my onions died. Actually, all the ones from Dixondale Farms died, but I had also gotten some onion starts from a local farm store, and I had planted them a few weeks before the Dixondale Farm onion starts. And the reason why the Dixondale Farms ones died is because they were only in the ground a couple weeks before we had that serious hard frost, or freeze, which was 17 degrees for 4 days in a row. And even though I did try to cover them, onions can take down to 22 degrees, but they have to be established. And so the ones that I had planted weeks before, which were the farm store ones, survived because they were established, and the ones that from Dixondale Farm had only been in there a week, and so they died, and I didn't get a harvest from them. But both years I still did get, the first year I got 540, and that was from a 3 by 22 foot bed. The second year I only got a 3 by 6 foot bed, but I still have probably 2 Ziploc bags full of gallon size chopped onions, and I've been using them. I just put 1 gallon size bag in the freeze dryer to make onion powder. The second thing is cucumbers. They don't last long. They don't even last in the freezer long, but my kids do like quick pickles, and I realized recently that we actually even like freeze-dried pickle chips. And so when I realized that, I was actually thinking about cutting back my cucumber growing amount this coming season. But because I've been getting so much cucumbers and not enough to do with it. But when I realized that you can freeze dry them, and my family really likes cucumber chips or pickle chips, they were delicious in the freeze dryer. I haven't tried to dehydrate them yet, but it's a quick snack. It's healthy. It's easy. And a cucumber is another thing that costs expensive. To try and get 1 cucumber during, the spring and summertime, and it's organic, is again $2. When cucumbers, I don't understand, they're prolific. In my opinion, you grow 1 plant and you can get 20 cucumbers where you don't even want cucumbers anymore. And so cucumbers are still making my list because now I found a new way that we like to enjoy them, which is freeze drying them and as chips. Those are my 7 things that I'm going to be focusing a lot of attention on, and intentionality, and trying to make them grow as best as possible. And the things that you should focus on in your garden are things, obviously, that you like to eat first and foremost. You can try new things and things that you may think you like, but if you're growing a lot and wasting a lot of space to grow those things and you don't really like them, you're not going to eat them. And so first and foremost, build your garden around things that you enjoy eating and that you think are delicious, and then fill in the space with trial crops that you're not really sure about. Thank you guys for hanging out with me as we talked about the 7 things that I'm interested in growing and focusing on this coming season. And you guys definitely let me know what crops are you going to focus on growing this coming growing season.